So last year, 2021, I was on the road 76 nights in my van. 13 of those nights were in hotels. I had a lot of Marriott points. 12 of those nights were in paid campgrounds. Paid campgrounds, you can book them ahead of time, usually for my needs in a van. The cost is between $20 and $40 a night. Because I'm in a van, I don't need hookups. I don't have an RV, so I don't need to hook up water and electricity. And so the price is usually cheaper for those accommodations. Also, sometimes I can stay in in spots designated for tent camping, and so that's cheaper. I'm driving up to my campsite in Antelope Island State Park, and this is the campground. The weirdest campground I've ever seen. 12 nights I spent free camping. I'm saying free camping just because there are different terms that people use. You'll hear the term boondocking or wild camping. But what I mean by free camping is they're land or campgrounds that are designated and totally legal, usually maintained by the state or the federal government. And they each have their own rules. Some you can stay for 7 days or even 14 nights, and it's totally free. So 12 nights in free camping. 16 nights during this trip, I stealth camped. Stealth camping is a type of free camping, except that the legality of it is blurry. So it's not this designated area where you can camp and put out your grill and light and start a fire and have a true camping experience. You're sleeping somewhere that it may or may not be legal to sleep there, and so you have to be very discreet while you're there. So some places where I have stealth camped are hospital parking lots, which I really actually like. You find a 24-hour emergency room. There are lights on. It feels very safe. In medium-sized cities, the hospitals are usually free. When you get into really big cities, they're not always free parking. So you want to find obviously free if you can. And there are people coming and going, but it feels safe and well lit. So hospitals. I also spent a lot of nights sleeping in residential parking. Oftentimes they're higher end neighborhoods, closer to downtown. In those areas, there are often street parking is often allowed. In the suburbs, people have their own garages because there's more space, and so oftentimes in the suburbs there isn't really street parking. But in downtown areas where everything's kind of more densely populated, a lot of these higher end neighborhoods allow street parking because they just there's just no room for them to park anywhere else. And so in these types of neighborhoods, street parking, people will park their vehicles overnight all the time, and so it's not that strange to see a van like mine pull up and stay there all night. So you have to be careful when you do that. Obviously, you don't want to park right in front of somebody's window or right in front of somebody's door, but I did stealth camp in residential neighborhoods quite a few times during my travels. I also camped in a paid city parking lot. I did that in Chattanooga. I stealth camped right downtown in Nashville and also in Asheville. And so there are a lot of options when it comes to stealth camping. Stealth camping is not super comfortable. You have to kind of be hidden and be discreet and get in there late and leave early in the morning. What I usually would do is I would go out to dinner, then walk back to my vehicle in the evening, go right to sleep, and then early in the morning, as soon as I wake up, 5-6 o'clock in the morning, I would have a planned second location to go to do all my morning business. So at 6 a.m., I may have already spied a park around the corner. I really like just city parks to just hang out at. And so I would drive from the city, the stealth camping location to the city park, and then I can just sit there, watch my morning YouTube videos. I brush my teeth, drink my coffee, do all the things that I normally do in the morning there, get myself cleaned up, and then I can start my day from there. So so 16 nights I spent stealth camping. 4 nights I spent at Cracker Barrels. So there's this other sort of category of places you can stay where it is legal to stay there, but you still kind of have to be stealth about it. You can't just light a fire. And it's just, good for a quick night. And that's like Cracker Barrels, Walmart, Cabela's, I think even like a truck stop might be classified as this. They're places that you can go. They know you're allowed to be there. When I go, I've only done this in Cracker Barrels, and when I've done them, I've called the Cracker Barrel before ahead of time, talked to the manager, asked for permission. They've always very easily granted me permission. And then a lot of Cracker Barrels have RV parking on one side of their building, so you just pull in. I should note that not every Cracker Barrel allows overnight parking, so you do have to be very careful and just ask. And also always buy something. Like in the morning, get breakfast, or at night if you're there early enough, get dinner, and just always, you want to say thank you and patronize the company. So 4 nights I stayed at Cracker Barrels. I have never stayed at the infamous Walmart. I'm not against staying at a Walmart. I'm not exactly sure why I have not stayed at a Walmart yet. I'm sure my day will come and I will sleep at a Walmart, but I haven't yet. And then lastly, 19 nights I spent at Harvest Hosts. So Harvest Hosts is a company that you subscribe to annually. It's about $100 a year. And so what that gives you is access to basically a big database of different companies, usually breweries, wineries, local attractions, and farms, and that have said, hey, we have space, somebody can park, a camper can park at our facility for free, and there's then an expectation of you to buy something from their company, right? So if you go to a winery, there's an expectation for you to get there before they close so you can go in and have their wine tasting or grab a bottle of wine or something like that. If you go to a brewery, get a few beers. They expect you to spend at least $20 while you're there, which is very easy to do, obviously. The great thing about Harvest Hosts is you do get such a variety. So some Harvest Hosts are breweries in the middle of a downtown. It might even feel a little bit sketchy. Like I've actually had a couple of experiences where I went to the Harvest Host and I didn't feel that comfortable staying there overnight, and I ended up sleeping somewhere else. So they're very different. So it could just be a slab of concrete in the back of an industrial park somewhere, or it could be a gorgeous, you could be viewing like vineyards and animals, farms. Like it's just, it's all across the map, and it's cool in that sense. It's also nice, being on the road. At the forefront of your mind at all times is, where am I gonna sleep? And so it's nice to be able to book something that's inexpensive and that also gives you an experience. And Harvest Host, which by the way, not sponsored, but Harvest Host, you are going somewhere different. You can book it ahead of time so you know where you're gonna sleep, for the most part, unless you decide to leave like I have a couple times. So you go, you know where you're going, you have to buy something, so you go in, you meet the owners, or you meet people that are in there, and it's an experience. A lot of van travel is in a lot of solitude, so it's nice to put on a pair of jeans and look nice and go have a couple beers at a brewery and talk to people. So I really enjoy Harvest Host. Like I said, 19 of the 76 nights that I was on the road last year, I slept at Harvest Hosts. I will say that most of my Harvest Hosts were in the East, because in the East, there just are not that many options of places to sleep. So I did a lot of stealth camping in the East, and I did a lot of harvest hosts in the East. In the West, hardly any. So where did I sleep?